Showtime. So this is what number 10, isn't it? We've got 9 under our belt. Yes. So
now, what do you want to talk about today? We're out living, so whatever you want to talk about.
Okay. I thought holding up for the YouTube camera, but for people listening to the radio, the Christ put together a document. It is 96 pages that he presented to a court in Australia on the 8th of December 1997. Now, the 8th of December happens to be the birth date of Mary Queen of Scots.
Right.
Right. And on the back of, on the 96th page, now 96 is the day of the year. In Australia it is April the 6th, which is the conception date of the Christ in 1943, but it is also the anniversary of the resurrection that occurred Jerusalem time, April the 5th, 33 AD, or April the 6th in Australia, since we are ahead by 10 hours. Now, on the back is the declaration, the key of David, and this is what the document is. It's part of the evidence. Again, this document is just the tip of a huge iceberg. The iceberg is so large, it's incomprehensible. And it covers...
Well, to the human mind, you won't be able to follow it. That's why I've got to explain it all to you. But even then, after years of studying what I'm telling you, you still won't be able to grasp it all.
It actually fills the universe, and it continues.
It goes on forever.
Okay, so reading the key of David and the proclamation. I, Leonard Golightly Marshall, stand before Almighty God and the people of the earth, do solemnly declare that I am the Christ. On this day, December 8th, 1997 AD, I announce to the realm of the United Kingdom Israel, held in trust by Her Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II. I respectfully enclose a brief history of evidence of divinity, being, I am the resurrected body of Jesus, the Son of God, the Christ, as per the prophecies of the Bible. Genesis 49:10, Isaiah 7:14, Isaiah 22:22, Matthew 1:23, Revelation 19:12, Revelation 19:16, which predicts the second coming of the Lord, being the resurrected body of Jesus the Christ. The laws of the realm being based on the Holy Bible, being the basis of the law of Israel, the United Kingdom and the earth, do formally announce that I am the Christ Jesus, reincarnate. Due to the exceptional nature of this claim, it is incumbent upon the government to suspend any criminal action against myself and formally appoint a royal commission, charged with the authority to appoint scholars of international recognition and credibility, drawn from all religions, to make appropriate recommendations to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, on the basis that the Lord Christ is above the law, he being the law. I therefore make announcement and claim on the basis of divine right that I am the key of David biblically, being the genetic offspring of King William the Lion of Scotland, born December the 4th, 1143 AD, died December the 4th, 1214 AD. He being the descendant of King David, the descendant of Jacob, the descendant of Abraham, the descendant of Adam, as per the testimony of the Holy Bible, the absolute authority and foundation of the kingdom of Israel, the Word of God, King James 16:11. Then signed and witnessed at Campbelltown, New South Wales, December the 8th, 1997. Your signature, Leonard Golightly Marshall, and then the witness was Michelle Marshall. So that's on the 96th page.
Little comment.
Yes.
That's based on the laws of the realm. Now, when you say Holy Bible, blah, 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 they believe it is. So when you're dealing with them, you have to go on that basis. However, on the same basis, they are responsible to the world to take care of the world in a Jesus-like manner. However, they have adopted the Torah as being the determining factor, and it is based on the Talmud, which is based on the Babylonian mystery religion, which they, by their Freemasonry and Judaism, which is both phony and of the devil, you can't go on that basis when you're going to court. So what I've done in the past is set up a waiver, if you like, for them to pursue me in a way which I gave them the lead to follow. For example, if you're dealing in international politics, what they have is honey pots. Michelle Obama, for example, was recently caught in a lesbian act in a room where she had been lured by a lesbian, and they take films of it. The best methods for really determining if someone is an evil bastard is to let them be lured by whatever the most evil thing is. In most cases, it's child sacrifice or child molestation, as what is the delight of most all priests. And then you also have the heterosexual, and that usually goes into the spy game, where people are used as weapons of deception via the honeypot of a female or a male that seduces the person that they're targeting. And that becomes a photographic record. In my case, I knew they'd be trying something like that against me, so I minted 1,600 $1 coins. And as I am the king anyhow, the currency, the only legal currency, is the ones I make. So I made 1,600. Why did I do 1,600? Well, the 16th brightest star in the universe is a star that we can look to today, and over certain areas of the world you can measure the duration of time. As similar to that, you can measure the duration of time from sunrise to moonrise when I was born. So the coins goes back to King William the Lion of Scotland, who was a man that manufactured his own money. So I do the same thing because I'm a direct descendant. That's where the sterling silver comes from. Now the hallmark on let's say anything's made of silver, cutlery, that kind of thing, it's got a hallmark, and it's called sterling silver. That's from Stirling, where it was the castle built by King William the Lion of Scotland. So after that, I did a job for a businessman in Australia, and I'd already gone to court over the coins, had become very good friends with the detective who was in charge of the investigation. His name was Peter Milne, and he was actually the head of the squad of counterfeiting in Australia. What they was concerned about with dollar coins is that they can go into a slot machine, because Australia is like, it's got more slot machines in Australia than all of Europe and bloody United States combined. This is the gambling heart of the world, right? So they don't want money being taken out of the till by having a slug go through. So I made them lighter than the machine would recognise. So when you put the dollar coin into the machine, it would fall straight through. And that's what I did. And that convinced Peter Milne I wasn't doing it for money. I had another reason. Because he said to me, why do you make $50 bills? And I said, I'm not doing it for money. And I explained to him what it was all about. So he said to me, if I was to show him how I did it, that he would get me off. And he did that. He agreed. So I took him, or took his crew out to where I was manufacturing the coins and showed them how it was done. But the hard part was that you can take a soft metal and you can etch into it the shape of a coin or whatever you want to mint. And then you take it to a heat treatment plant and you then have it treated, and it becomes tool steel hard. So therefore you can get a press, you can press out the brass or copper coins. So I had to do it another way. I had to get it heat treated first, because you can't put a a die into a heat treatment works to have it treated and have a bloody coin sitting on it that's going to be used for counterfeiting. So I had to do it the other way around. So I had to have a tool hardened first and then get the coin etched into it, which is what I invented a way of doing that. And when I showed him that, he was very impressed and thanked me for it. And then when I went to court, he was my defence in court. A rather a strange situation. The judge was a man called Justice Webb, and he looked at the coins. He said, "I can't tell the bloody difference." And he fined me $1,000. And he said to me in Australian humour, $1,000, but don't pay with your own currency. It just thought it was probably good. And I never did pay it anyhow. But the point is, years later, I did a job for a contractor who was working for various banks and so forth, installing doors that open and close and stuff like that. And he had several hundred jobs that they couldn't get paid on because he didn't have the staff that could fix the problems. So he asked me if I could do it. I said, yeah, no problem. So the first job was to go down to the Commonwealth Bank in the heart of Sydney, the main office. And top security clearance takes me down to the bowels of this building. The doors open, and there's 3 soldiers standing there with guns. Behind that was a plate glass, 20-foot high room. Inside that was a supercomputer. And I have to go through there, out for another door to get to the job where it had to be fixed by this contractor. And I was going to do it. So I said to him, "What's that thing for?" This is one vast, huge computer. And he said, "Oh, that's for running the plant, the world." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, that is capable, if anything happens in the Northern Hemisphere, the world can be run from Australia." So that was something he blurted out to me. At the end of the time that I was doing work for him, he owed me $20,000. And he decided that he was going to keep the money for himself. And I hunted him down just before he was going to leave for Europe for 6 weeks. And I got him in the office, and I said to him, "I want to be paid up." So he sort of leaned back in his chair and gave me a bit of a smile, and he got the checkbook out and he started writing the check out. And I saw he wrote in the numerals section $4,050. And I said, "What are you doing?" So he looked at me and he said, "I know about your criminal record," because his friends were with the police, and then they were the ones that would arrest me if I gave him any trouble. So he said to me, "Now, who would the police believe? A fine, upstanding businessman like myself, or a man with a criminal record of counterfeiting coins like you?" So I leaned over to him and I said, "Well, who would my uncle believe, who's the head of the taxation department? With one phone call, he'd go through this company like a bag of salts, because I know what you've been up to." Because what he would do, he'd give me part payment now and then. The cheque would be made out to a Mr. Maxwell, and I'd take that to the Commonwealth Bank and or the sailing club, and the manager would cash it. So this is the rort they had going. In those days, there's all sorts of evil schemes. If you was in business, you're almost certainly going to be into the evil part of accountancy, tax fraud and that kind of thing. So he packed the shits and slid the cheque over to me, and he said, "Here, fill it out for what I owe you." So I did. So I wrote in with my handwriting. Of course, it's on the cheque today, which I've got on another computer. I'll show you that in another upload. $24,050. So he had $4,050 in. I put a 2 in front of it and wrote out $24,050. He initialed it, and I said, "Now you're making it out to me." I said, "It's not to be made out to me. Make it out to my wife." So he made it out to my wife, P. Marshall. So the cheque wasn't mine, that's the point. The next day I cashed it. It was my birthday. I was 45 years old. Some 3 months later, his partner discovered there was $20,000 short, because what this guy was doing he was a gambler and going out with whores. He thought he had me for sure, so he could take an extra 20 grand out the till and keep it for himself and go out doing what he wants to do. But when it was discovered that I had it over him, he had to pay me the extra 20 grand. So what's it all about? The number 20450, rather 24050, which was the value of the cheque, that is how many lunations there are between my birth, January the 11th, 1944, back in time to when I came as Jesus, which was the 17th of June 2 BC. So there's 24,050 lunations of the moon. And that is, one lunation is 29.53052 days to be exact. If you look it up in the encyclopedias or whatever, they'll say it's 29.53 days. But it isn't. It's 25 with the 29.53052 is the precise number. And that's what you have to be very precise when you do things. And that's what that was all about. So I went to court, and of course on the, every time I went to court, I wouldn't take a legal aid, and the judge would say, this is a serious matter, you have to have a lawyer. And I said, I don't want a lawyer. I was quite prepared to go to jail, because I find in jail that prisoners become very Jesus-oriented. They have nothing else to do, so the jail I'd be going to would have lots of prisoners in it, because that is the big business in Australia. And as I made it very clear, I have no problem going to jail. Right? I have an old age pension coming on from, or a workers' compensation pension. I said, I'll be building up cash in jail. I don't have no expenses. This is a good deal. So this is how it all came about. So I presented this document here to the judge. And it was a woman. I didn't want a male judge because they're all Freemasons. I thought I'd wait until I finally got a female judge. And Justice Morgan, I think her name was. And during the trial, they got their wigs on and all this silly nonsense they go on with. So I handed that to the judge. She stopped the court for a half an hour and she read the whole thing. Then she said to me and handed it back to me, and she said, not at this time, Mr. Marshall, because it proves absolutely that, number one, I'm the King of England, and number two, that I'm Jesus Christ reincarnated. It's absolutely 100% slam dunk for any logical, open-minded person who has the brains to be able to read it. And that's why I did it. So
this is a truly astonishing document. I got through possibly half of this document up at the Scrib site, scanning the pages. It's I'm looking. I will find somebody to bind this. This needs to be preserved. It is absolutely.
I'm not going to hand that to anybody because I'll destroy it.
Well.
Like,
wrap it in plastic, something ourselves, because
you're going to do it yourself. Now, okay. What I had to do with this, because it's such an extensive document, I put holes through the document. I'll just show on camera what I'm talking about. This is the front page is fallen off. Now, if you look at that, you see there's a hole there, right? And then you see another one there and another one there. So there's a blue hole and an orange hole. Now, what you do is you go through and you follow. That'll give you these numbers here, and you follow down to what that number means, and then you go through that and you follow it through the document, through the holes, which are marked in blue, to where it comes out here. It'll come out and identify this. This is Spica, which I was talking about a moment ago. It was Spica is the 16th brightest star in the sky. Pi is 3.14159, is the 16th letter of the Greek alphabet. So there's your connection. So you're reading the stars, you can see pi in the luminosity of the 16th brightest. Now Spica is 714 minutes, which is Isaiah 7:14 on this particular date, which is all down under here and so forth, which is, give us some idea if you can see it. Now Spica is in the Virgin, right? So here's the Virgin, Virgo, and now you would carry on. There's another hole there, so you would carry on to follow where that goes to. That comes through out at this point and goes up to 888 Jesus, Iesous, which is that's the value of that Greek, meaning Jesus in English, Iesous in Greek, and it has a value in Greek of 888, and that's the sunrise, the sunset when I was born. So you then have this one here, which is the orange hole, right, which goes up to 2 points here, January the 11th, 1944, and Saturday, May the 4th, is when my daughter was born, and I was 8,880 days old. Okay, so then that blue line would be then flowing down to here, and that would go to this. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. Now that is from, we go back to what I was saying before, and that is from Isaiah 7:14, which is the Emmanuel prophecy, God in the flesh, which leads to the Matthew 1:23, which has a value of 8880 in Greek gematria, which is the age I was when I gave birth to, or my wife gave birth to my child, when I was 8,880 days old. Now, 888 has various biblical connections. For example, the founder is the value of 888. I am the life is 888. This is Greek. 888 is salvation of our God, Hebrew. I am Jehovah, I change not, Hebrew, 888. Behold, a virgin shall conceive a child, 8880. Another one goes down to here. An ark in which few, that is, 8 souls were saved through water. The ark being Christ. This is 1 Peter 3:20. And there's the Greek, which I'll put in the Greek typing there. And that has a value of 8880 when you take that Greek and translate that into gematria, etc. So you would go on and you'll find, you open the book up, now we're page 44, the blue line pops out through here. It goes up to Tracy Lee Marshall. My daughter was conceived on Saturday, July the 29th, 1967, when the planet Jupiter was over Port Alberni in Canada for 888 minutes. There's your Julian date there, born on 280 days later on May the 4th. And that takes us back and go back through there. Now, Patmos is number 3963 in Greek. So it's divided by pi, divided by 2, gives you the size of the earth. 24,903,461 is the long number. And of course that is also linked down to Revelation 1:9. So you can see, it's not something you can dream up and yap at the parishioners standing on a bloody pulpit, right? That is why this is a very, very intriguing and beautiful piece of revelation of what I'm all about. So you pick a page, doesn't matter. There's another one there. There's the orange line coming between. So it says between 21st of April 1926 and 11th of January 1944, there's 6474 days, and explains why that's relevant. Queen Elizabeth II, for example. Right? There you go.
Yeah, I thought we'd just read, or I would read. Well, the start of it, page 1, is the Tunguska, to your mother's birth.
All right.
The, whatever it was that hit the earth.
Well, it was an asteroid coming in, and or a comet from an asteroid, or vice versa. And when it hit the earth, the discharge and the explosion, it heated up and blew up thousands of feet above the Earth's surface and took out hundreds of square kilometres or miles of forest. And at the centre of it, the trees are standing straight up and void of all leaves and so forth. But as they go out, they start to spread out with the blast. So the blast goes straight down, does no damage except take the leaves off the trees. As the blast spreads out, as a heat wave, it bends them all over. And then it reaches a point where they're also incinerated.
Okay. Now, you're measuring from when Tunguska happened to your mother's birth. So,
Yeah.
June the 30th, 1908. Your mother was born Friday, the 11th of October, 1912. 1,564 days, or 223 weeks and 3 days. 223 is August the 11th, 1999. And that's the date of...
Now, this was put together before the baby was born in 2001. And it's a bit of a strange story there. The daughter of my third wife was, if you look up the word arsehole in the dictionary, it's got her name there. You've got no idea what a bastard she is. So, she had often been caught by myself watching through the window, looking through my work. So, she was pregnant. And she said to me, if you're Christ, tell me what day the baby's going to be born. I said, yeah. I said, it'll be born at 8:53 p.m. on the 11th of August 2001. Ha 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 ha, and off she goes, right? So on that date, about 4 in the afternoon, she shows up. And she's waddling around like a forklift with a smock on. She says to me, the baby's not here yet. I said, the day ain't over yet. Ha 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 ha, gets in the car, scoffing as she goes, and off they go with the de facto, and the water breaks, goes in the hospital, the baby's born at 8:53 p.m. It's the 11th of August 2001. So Jade, the husband, or the de facto, oh darling, little baby, blah, 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 blah. Then he looks at her, she looks at him, she said, oh shit, the old bastard was right. Do you think that would make any difference? I thought it was quite a good party trick. Next baby's coming along. She said, all right, you think you're Christ? The same story. Tell me when this baby's going to be born. I said, look, I told you last time, and you haven't stopped. You're still the same arsehole as you was then. Right? Well, you don't know. I said, yeah, I know, right? I married my second wife on the 14th of February 1987. 888 weeks later, the 21st of February 2004, the baby is born. Also, the word Jehovah is 69. Leonard is 69, my second name. When I was 69 years old, that baby was 8.88888 years old. Now, Lieutenant Cook was never a captain, he was a lieutenant. While sailing back from Antarctica after being witnessing or trying to witness the transition of Venus on June the 3rd, 1769, he spotted what had already been discovered by the French astronomer Messier on the 8th of the 8th in the same year. And this date, when he spots this comet, first white man in South Pacific, he jotted in his journal, had cited this magnificent comet. And the date was the 30th of August. So 22 days after the first sighting. Now 22 was the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And don't confuse Hebrew with anything to do with the Jews. The Jews have Yiddish, they use the Hebrew alphabet only to manufacture their own religion and their own language. It's called Yiddish. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Hebrew. But they claim it is, of course, but it's not. So when you add 8,888 days, rather 88,888 days to the 30th of August 1769, you get my birthday, which is when that little girl who was born of Rhiannon, and she was 8.8888 years old. Add 88888 days to the Messier when he first recorded it in France, and you get the 20th of December, the birthday of the mother of the little baby girl that was 8.888 years old on my 69th birthday. Go back 8888880 sorry, do it again. 8888858 days, and you get the jotting down of in the ship's log of the Endeavour as it's sailing back from Antarctica. Because what had happened, by the way, the whole idea between going to Tahiti to study the transition of Venus was to prove two things: the Harrison clock, which was invented by one of my ancestors, which was the longitude. When you have a clock at sea, if you know where you are at a certain time of day, you can then determine where you are longitude-wise based on the Greenwich Mean Line being in England. On board the ship was the man who was the Astronomer Royal that was in charge of Greenwich, and in fact he died on the trip, and there was 95 people on board, so there you got 95 again, and half the crew died from all sorts of malaria, scurvy, and all sorts of stuff. So that is basically how that fits together. Now that is in here. Let me have a look here. Did you find it when you was going through them?
What was I looking for?
88888.
No, not yet. There's...
No, that's another one. This is page 19. We'll come back to that. That's interesting. I'll show you what it means. This is the date difference between beheading a child the first and nine. There's a diagonal of the pyramid. There's the rock of the scone. So if this is not entirely up on the Scrib site, it should be. That'll be another project for
I'll
us.
finish it this afternoon.
Okay.
Well, I'm just reminded how incredible it is. Now I'm going to go and do a bookbinding course somewhere so I can do it justice.
We'll carry on talking while I'm trying to find this thing. I've probably passed it already.
There's a...
Go ahead.
No, I'm looking at bookbinding sites on the... There's one in Berrima where I'm going to be. I've seen that guy before. He does amazing work. He learned in a Cistercian monastery. Take it to him. Because he that's his specialty. He does amazing work.
Now, while I'm doing this, keep talking. Remember, we're radio listeners.
Yes, I understand that, but the beauty of this Audacity program is that any silences we can delete. So you can just...
You can't take it off the camera.
No, but they can see what's going on.
There's my handprinting.
Oh. Now, what was the response when you gave this to the judge?
She said, "Not at this time, Mr. Marshall." I can't find it. Must have passed it everything. Anyhow, yeah.
What were you looking for?
The 88888 numbers. Don't worry about it.
All right, okay. Look, I got to the first... This is the first full line. This is as far as we got. And that was half an hour ago. I just wanted to read through just to give people an idea of Okay, so 223 is August the 11th, and it's 1999. The eclipse over London occurred on the 223rd day of the year. The sunlight for London was 888 minutes, and that's the Jesus gematria. The last solar eclipse before the year 2000. The eclipse started at 9:06. The eclipse was 9 hours and 6 minutes totality, and then the 49 degrees 13 minutes north latitude is Marshall in Hebrew dictionary, James Strong's.
Marshall. It's pronounced Marshall.
Yes, spelled, yeah. Anyway, then Tunguska, to your father's birth. He was born Friday the 12th.
Stepfather, yeah.
Yes, stepfather, 12th February 1909. So the time... Tunguska, to your father's birth. He was born Friday the 12th.
Stepfather, yeah.
Yes, stepfather, 12th February 1909. So the time elapsed was 227 days or 32 weeks and 3 days. Hebrew Dictionary 227, a demonstrative adverb at that time or place, also as a conjunction, beginning for, from, hitherto, now, of old, once, since, then, at which time, yet. Greek Dictionary 227 is true, truly, truth. And then you've got from Tunguska to my conception, and beneath this you have written in pencil, handwritten, I would... it's about going to Jerusalem if they recognize me as king.
They've missed the boat.
Now, here is the difference. Your conception date, April 6, 1943, from June the 30th, 1908. The elapsed time is 12,698 days, or 1814 weeks exactly. And 1269 is a sign. It's Matthew 24:24. Now, 2424, of course, is the number listing for Jesus in the James Strong's Concordance. So we've got Matthew 2424. You know what was odd yesterday? I was following a car on the way back from town, and it had a license plate that was XDX and 111. Now, we're about to cover the 111 here. It's this document does it all. But X, of course, is 24. So it was 24, 4, 24, 111. Your numbers, baby. And here we are talking about the 2424. For there shall arise false Christs. And the world needs to hear this. This is what you get accused of all the time, that you're one of these. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Greek Dictionary 2424, Jesus, the name of our Lord, other Israelites, Jesus. Hebrew 1269 is Beerzoth, to pierce. My name, Marshall, is closest to the Greek New Testament word Mars Hill. The term for divinity, I am, is found in the Bible in 698 verses. So remember, the elapsed time in days is 12,698. The word word is found 697 times. Both numbers are Mars Hill. So the number of your name, not only is it 312, it's also 697. It's describing exactly who you is, and that's the I am.
So the word Mars Hill is very close, and the closest, if you put an A in there, it's Marshall. Right? Now Marshall in Hebrew is Marshall, which means parables. Jesus said everything in parables, so Jesus said everything in Marshalls. Hello? Not that hard, is it?
No, it's not. Now, here's the Greek Dictionary 698. An Areopagite, or member of the court, held on Mars Hill, Areopagite. Now, it's leading to Joel 2:27. Of course, we have Joel living with us, and he shall, Joel is Job, the man of great patience, And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. Greek Dictionary 697, from Ares, the name of the Greek deity of war, and a derivative of 4098, Rock of Ayres, a place in Athens. Areopagus, Mars Hill. Now the Greek Dictionary 1269 is from 1223 and 3506. Is to nod, and we don't mean nod off as in fall asleep, or express by signs across an intervening space. Beckon, so if somebody nods to you like this, that means, okay, go for it, or come here, or hello. It's a sign. June the 30th, 1908, Tunguska is a sign through time, 89 years, 32,507 days to the stealth asteroid, and to my birth date, 12,698 days, 35.532567 years, and is to chastise the earth. NASA unexpectedly encountered it on June the 30th, 1997, a sign, the same date as Hong Kong was handed over to China. NASA named the black asteroid Stealth due to its lack of reflective surface, making it difficult to have been discovered by observation. The precise nature of such object, composed mainly of ice and dust, and disintegrated in the atmosphere high above the Earth's surface, creating a fireball and blast wave but no crater. It was an object that encountered the Earth at 66,660 miles per hour and weighed 888,000 tons. These are the signs. Revelation 20 verse 1, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Now, as a comment on the 666 number, it's Babylonian, but that doesn't make it evil. It just makes it that it indicates where the numbers come from. And the number for Lord in the King James Bible, which they've soon changed, especially since I've been pointing it out, there are 6,666 verses with the word Lord. Now, the Earth slows up and speeds down in its orbit every day, it's either speeding up or slowing down. So it's going fastest on January the 4th each year, which is the date my mother was conceived on. And it's going slowest on July the 4th, which indicates that it's further from the sun. And although it is further from the sun, the tilt of the Earth puts America facing the sun. And although it is further away, it is the summer for the Northern Hemisphere. However, on the date of resurrection, the speed of the Earth was doing 66,666.666. So in other words, there is a precise moment when the speed of the Earth was doing 66,666.6666 miles per hour on the date of the resurrection. So,
now,
because everyone knows that.
Hebrew Dictionary 740. The same as 739. Why did we go to the Hebrew Dictionary 740? Why are we looking at 740?
Well, it's a time. Impact.
Time of impact, was it? Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
Now, 740 is the word destruction and also Jerusalem.
Symbolical name for Jerusalem, Ariel. Greek Dictionary 500 from 473 and 5547 is an opponent of the Messiah, that is the Antichrist.
Well, Jerusalem is. People have said to me, are you going to go to Jerusalem? I said, I wouldn't go to that shithole. Why would I want to go there for?
Like returning to the scene of the crime.
Like people wandering around with crosses on doesn't really impress me either. It's a reminder of being nailed to the bastard, isn't it?
Was it somebody said it'd be like
Hicks said it was like
JFK.
JFK his wife running around with an M42 or 47
Around a neck.
Around a neck. There's a little brooch, right? Little necklace.
Now, Hebrew, we've got 101. Basin, cup, goblet. Jeremiah 25:15. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. Yeah, so the time of impact was 7:40 a.m., destruction of Jerusalem. These are the positions of...
I'll guarantee you, if you go and try and find that on the encyclopedia or on WikiLeaks, which is Jewish, they'll have changed it.
Totally. Now, the sky above Tunguska was the twins, Gemini, Jesus 1 and Jesus 2.
So all the constellations are all to do with the Lord, so don't go reading your horoscope, it's bullshit. But there is a true horoscope that only applies to the Lord himself. So the Hindi, they had the oldest, if you like, and each nation have their own horoscopes. But Hinduism is from the Essenes. The Essene is the oldest religion, the oldest people, if you like, descended from Enoch.
So here are the stats. So the date was June the 30th, 1908, which was Julian Day 2418122.73611. Field width 45 degrees, time 7:40 a.m. Universal time 5:40. Where the radius RA, that's
just capital R, capital A.
Yes, 7:01:51. Okay, the zone was GMT +2, local sidereal time 6:59:23, declination 22 degrees 51:51. The latitude of Tunguska. Oh, all right. Well, all right. On the left-hand side, opposite the stats concerning Tunguska, reading here, Greek gematria. You have the alphabet here.
Greek alphabet, the 16th letter is pi. Remember I mentioned it before?
Yes, yesterday.
Okay, so you then add up all of these numbers.
Yes.
Right? And we get 399 times pi equals 4 equals 3134, which is the what?
Coming divine judgment, Maranatha.
All right, now, my third wife, Michelle, she was raised at, I think it was 93.
Preston's, was it?
It was in Preston, what was it? Just trying to think of the street now. The distance, however, to the South Pole was 3134 miles. And that number is what we have here, the 16th letter of the alphabet. Now, with a woman like Michelle, she was with me for 13 years and I showed her daily 20 odd miracles at a time. Yet, she would rather sit and watch TV. Can you get your mind around that?
No. I was telling this young couple yesterday from Milano that just happened to enter the beach, say hello to Charlie. I invited them to come and stay the night if they needed to. And I said, we don't watch TV. As a matter of fact, when we moved in, we cut the cable to the satellite upstairs.
Disconnected, I think is a better word.
Disconnected. But they were amazed. They've come from other campgrounds, etc. And what they're amazed at is everybody in these camping grounds, the caravans, but they have these huge satellite dishes sitting around watching their TVs while they're camping. And they were blown away by the beauty of Tugum Beach. They had never seen anything so magnificent. Valentina and Bianco. So moving along, we've got more. Here's the latitude and longitude of Tunguska. It is latitude 60 degrees 55 minutes, longitude 101 degrees 57 minutes east. So that's north and east. Now in Hebrew dictionary, 6055, from 6049 and 3050, Yah has covered. Greek Dictionary 605 from 600 is reconstitution or restitution. Greek Dictionary 600 is to restore again. And this is what the Christ has come to do, to restore his creation.
So anything coming from space is coming from my territory. That's the whole point I'm making here. Whether it be comets, whether it be this Tunguska event, Shoemaker-Levy impacts. Now, to give you some idea, when all the planets lined up on my daughter's birthday in the year 2000, I think it was, you take my body weight of 222 pounds. Incidentally, that is how many times the word truth is found in the Bible and how many times the word wisdom, verse totals. And if you weighed me on Saturn, Jupiter, the Earth, Venus, Mars, Mercury and the Sun, what do I leave out? Anything? Doesn't matter. The weight is the same number as the area of the Shroud of Turin, 7353 pounds.
Now, speaking of King James, this is the next...
Well, I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, well, it is, it's totally, but this is even better. Listen to this.
Okay.
Okay, so from June the 30th, 1604, this is the authorization date of the King James Bible. So from that date, June the 30th, 1604, to Tunguska, the elapsed time is 111, you're 111, 03 days, so 111,033 days, which is 15,861 weeks and 6 days. So remember that number. This is 111033. Now, your mother's age when you were born, she was born October 11th, 1912. You were born January 11th, 1944. She was 11,133 days old. So it's the same number minus the 0 before the 33. This is... So King James himself was born June the 19th, 1566. Now, your birth date as Jesus, of course, was June the 17th in 2 BC. So Yah has his Jesus' birthday coming up. And then 2 days later we can celebrate the birth of King James as well, because he's a hero in all of this. Edinburgh Castle in Scotland. March the 27th, he died March the 27th, 1625, at Theobald's, Hertfordshire, England, King of Scotland. Okay. James, a strong advocate of royal absolutism and his conflicts with an increasingly self-assertive parliament, set the stage for the rebellion against his son and successor, Charles I, who was unfortunate enough to have his head hacked off. He was running England without the aid of the money of the Jews. It was Oliver Cromwell, the traitor to England, set up by his father before him, who wrote to the Jews and asked for money, and the result of it was England today and the world today because of it. Freemasonry, a combination of self-gratifying abominations aligned with Talmudic Judaism and Pharisee religious self-righteousness, regarding itself as God of the earth and that the universe is God Almighty, that is intrinsically evil, which rewards mankind who accomplishes evil. God is love, and that's what you came to demonstrate as Jesus.
Bless you, my child.
God is love, and is the invisible gravity from which all things exist. There was... Yes, you are the glue that keeps it all together, the semi-matter that keeps everything together throughout the universe. Now, next page, we are...
Well, we've got New Zealand for a start. Turn the page over.
Yeah.
New Zealand, ask any adult. I I don't know about the children today, but certainly the adults would know that New Zealand lies between 2 points of latitude that are 888 miles apart. Now, Cook spent 6 months charting New Zealand with the Harrison clock after he was been to Antarctica and sailing back, right? So the very first thing he does when he arrives, he starts measuring. Just before that, he was on the beach and a Maori ran up and grabbed his sword and started to run off with it, so he shot him dead. So the very first thing that this evil bastard did was to kill a man for stealing a sword, whereas he could have just negotiated and got the thing back, right? But this youngster had grabbed the sword and ran off, and then he killed him.
Now, let's continue about this stealth meteor that came in. This is really interesting because this would be news to most of us, unless you actually remembered it happening. So the stealth orbit, the stealth meteor that took NASA by surprise, its orbit towards the Earth meant it was on the same path to the Earth as the probe was away from the Earth. So this is the probe that takes all the photographs. And otherwise, it would not have been opportune or named stealth because it was a total surprise. The newspapers revealed a mistake in that the photographs were opportune. The probe took 500 photographs, and from the previous page, 500 is Antichrist, meaning opposed to the Messiah, which is what Francis is. He goes opposed to the Christ.
Man's a moron.
Now, what is interesting,
This is a man that will swear an oath and has sworn an oath to tear the babies out of a woman's womb and smash its head against a wall. Can you believe that? This asshole, a Jesuit, they all swear that oath. Now he's shaking hands and sucking up to the Jews in Israel because he's a Jew. It was started by a Jew. Iola was a Jew.
And they're all called crypto Jews. That's all of them who by stealth.
The only thing I fear is kryptonite when I was a kid.
Now later, all newspaper articles were withdrawn from public scrutiny. Libraries and news echo computer bases were altered, as was the microfiche in the Melbourne library system. The government watches...
I went there and had a look.
Yes, right. The government watchers had suddenly realised that the information was potentially a sign of my return, and that it may cause havoc and panic with the fear of the fall of government as the masses turn to God to save them from this gigantic carbon asteroid. Being carbon, its composition is heat resistant and will not burn up in the atmosphere. To put its size in perspective, if it was placed beside Mount Everest at 5.55 miles high, it would be 6 times higher and 3 times higher than the altitude that a commercial aircraft flies at. That's 168,000 feet wide. Aircraft fly at 45,000 feet.
Now, get the number. 168 is what?
June 17th.
June 17th, 2 BC, the 168th day of the year.
That I just talked about before even reading this.
Now, when I was born, if you add 888 days to January the 11th, 1944, it is June the 17th, 1946. Hello.
All right, we're running out of time. Let's finish with this, and we'll continue this one in our next show because this is riveting. This is new information for most people. So from my conception to the black asteroid is 19,809 days. 1980 is Revelation 6:5, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see," and I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand.
How are we going for time?
Running out. Say goodbye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Bye.